Okay.
Saltwater too.
Yeah, so trustee Kleinman is sort of working on that, and so stay tuned. And if,
Open.
yeah, we're hoping, and maybe write us some letters and let us know that you want that, okay? But yeah,
Do you think you could write us a letter about it? We'd love letters,
yes, we love letters.
especially from Boy Scouts.
Thea, did you have one?
Do you use the same function as like the federal government?
The same function?
Yeah, like how a bill becomes a law.
Ah,
and stuff like that?
so a little bit different, but this group of people, and this is trustee Bloom. So the board is made up of 5 people. All right, the mayor and the 4 trustees, and we're responsible for making the laws, right, and changing the village code. So usually the way we would do that is we make an announcement that we're considering having change the law or making a law. And then we have an announcement to the public, right? We give a public notice, and then we hold public hearings, and then we take, we take comments from the public, and then we vote on it. So that's the process in Irvington. Okay, so it's a process that includes veto power. And yes, and I don't have veto power. I'm just one of 5 people. So my vote, and I think it's really an important point, right? The mayor has equal votes with the other trustees.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, you.
Yeah,
I was gonna say a lot of the laws that become law is because people like you have good ideas and write to the board and want to change something. So definitely stay involved and
Yeah.
look at questions.
Thank you so
No,
much.
thank you
Thank
guys,
you
and
so
you're
much.
always welcome
Appreciate
to
it.
come and
And
join
thank
our
you for your
board meetings.
service.
No,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
really appreciate
Thank
it.
you
Thank you
guys.
for being in the scouts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope you got your badge. You're getting your badge?
This is one of the
This is it.
requirements.
That's exciting. All right.
Great job.
Thank
All
you.
right. Good
Either way.
No, it's not a bad.
Yay. Every meeting start with Scouts and Boy Scouts. Our meetings would be so.
Did you get the
Just so
camera?
digital.
Charles, I'm yours.
Anxiety not getting exposed.
I'm yours. Remember I said.
Yeah, I forgot.
No, yeah, I should, I don't know why it's not in my calendar. It's like, I know there's something.
It's all good.
Okay.
They got it. They
Oh.
got their advancement. They
Oh.
can get their.
They can move on, they can move on to their badge. Okay, I'm just gonna pull up. There's David.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up the agenda.
Oh. Do you want my copy?
No, I'll pull it. Here it is. I just didn't know why it wasn't, the search wasn't working. At the end, because I was working. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we are going to start with the library budget workshop.
Community.
Oh. With the prettiest.
We went with a very bright color because we just figured we needed warming up.
Yes.
Very
And
nice.
it was a balmy 29 today.
It's supposed to give you a tropical feel. So it's been another great year at the library. Our physical items checked out and our visits are up over 4%. The real big boost was in the museum passes. That's up 86%.
Oh,
this year. And we also took over paying for the museum passes as of this budget. So
That was part of last year's budget
Budget was
request,
that-
was to allocate money for that.
we removed it from the responsibility of the Friends. And if you look down at the museum pass highlights, the Frick and reopened, so we had 55 visits. Since then, we added MoMA in August and had 46 visits. And the Guggenheim is up 56%. So we're getting a lot of bang for our buck.
Great way to
Um,
get people in.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
it is, it is.
Really, and in fact, it's, sometimes people can't get passes when they want them. So-
Right, yeah, so I mean, we allow people to make reservations for passes later in the week because we, if you just show up, it may be checked out, so. Or later in the month, actually, every calendar month, they can, reserve a pass for any time.
Our program attendance was up 10%, but what's really amazing is that children's is basically flat. Adults are up 19% and the teens are up 31%. Which we attribute to Linda Moser, who's our fantastic young adult librarian.
Have you changed sort of like the book duration at all for teens, or is that what's bringing them in, or?
I think part of it is that as they love our, they grow up with us, and they're staying with us, and usually when children became tweens, they sort of fall away from the library, they weren't happy with the program, or it wasn't engaging enough, but our teen librarian has been very good at providing programs that keeps pulling them in.
You have like a nice space set up for them, like in the sort of the back. There's like very comfortable. I remember finding it the other day. I was like, oh, this is like.
She rearranged that, actually. It's always been there for them, but somehow it didn't feel as homey as it does
No,
now.
it's like it's much more noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's done a lovely job
I've
with
got
that.
those little low chairs that I would never try to.
Oh, yeah, those
It's
gaming
perfect
chairs
for
on the, oh gosh,
teenagers
kids
who
love
wanna
them.
Definitely for tweens and teens.
Yeah.
The rest of us might sit down and not get back up.
That would be me. So, public logins are up 15% over last year. Our summer reading program, grew by 15%, and that last year it was 7% up. So
Right.
that's 22% in just 2 years.
It's been growing very well.
And another amazing fact is while Facebook is flat, we have a 27% increase in our weekly e-newsletters and a 10% increase in our followers on Instagram. So we're getting known out there.
And if I could just add to what Laura said about the number of children attending has been basically flat, but the thing is we've seen such an increase in younger children attending that we had one program, Music and Movement, that was so popular. We were at one point we realized we were turning away 18 people. And that's basically a program. So we now offer that program 2 sessions back to back on Tuesdays. It's a fun program for kids.
And then on the back, you'll see some pictures of some of our highlights during the year, some of the books that have been checked out.
The most popular titles for adults and adult children and adult. Actually, I guess they put the adult and young adult titles together, and we did, and the adult ebooks, the top 3 are listed as well.
Can I ask a question about DVDs?
Mhm.
Because actually, we watched Ted Lasso because my husband borrowed the DVD. What are you doing with DVDs? Because I actually, when he brought that home, I was like, we have a DVD player? Like, we didn't know we did. So,
Well, everything old is new again. DVDs are becoming more popular, thankfully, and that's one of the reasons why our DVD circulation is going back up. Because as much as people loved streaming during the pandemic, when it was really the only way we could get new content, people are now realizing that there are limitations to that. Either you're seeing, what your options are, could be limited, or there might be issues where things are cut to fit timeframes or whatever. So it's nice to be able to borrow a DVD. So
well, that's
yes.
happening in my household.
Actually, we for the first time in a long time we went
Yeah, yeah.
and rented a whole bunch of DVDs before that snowstorm. It was
That's great.
We continue collaborating with various organizations. This month, we have the annual art exhibit by the Irvington High School students, which is always popular. And
I'm sorry to just jump in, because it's not just high school, it's actually this year we're doing all from elementary through high school. It's a
Oh,
brand new
okay.
thing that
New.
I didn't really know until they came today. So it's a bit of a surprise for us. But apparently the school system has started a new initiative on teaching things like collaborative work and engaging with the community. And they're integrating it into the art classes. And so this is a sort of the success story of that, or how they're beginning to implement it, actually. And so it's a very interesting display, starting with art from students from Dow's Lane, going all the way up through the high school.
So at the end of the month, we'll have the spelling bee with the friends, and the book sale will be in May. The Rivertown's Chamber of Commerce is having an event in March honoring leaders and readers. And our honoree will be Chris Mitchell, who is a longtime trustee and really the backbone of the Tiffany Reading Room restoration. We do our photo gallery of the Irvington Legacies with the Historical Society in October. We have a monthly movie program with the Senior Center. The Green Policy Task Force uses our program room for their meetings monthly. Cachette has expanded working with libraries through WLS for more online programs. We have tours of the Tiffany Reading Room with Friends of the Old Croton Aqueduct, led by one of our trustees, Sarah Kelsey. Rosemary is a member of the Community Advisory Board. We make the Tiffany Reading Room and local history available for village interviews as needed. And we had an induction loop installation in the program room that was 50% paid for by the Hearing Loss Association of America, the Westchester Division, which was $3,500, which opens up our room to have accessible programs for hard of hearing. And they have about 4 or 5 meetings in our a year. And as Rosemary mentioned, we added the second music and movement class. We have very packed knitting programs for adults and teens. The beginner and competitive chess class is full. We have yoga, the lectures and concerts, and late hours during exam weeks and distressing activities such as our very popular petting zoo, including the pony and last year a baby. And our summer reading program, which is pretty amazing. Facility-wise, we've done pretty well this past year, nothing really major. I will say that due to the discontinuation of using the village-approved vendors, we saw a significant cost savings for painting the vestibule and ceiling of the reading room. The village-approved painter had quoted an estimate of $14,773, and we found another painter who was very popular among libraries for $3,700, and it looks great.
They did a great job.
They did a great job. And we are working
Huge
with.
savings.
Very significant.
That's a good model to consider for.
And we're working with Tejan Venegas, is that how you say it? I never. On upgrading our HVAC system. So the design proposal, which will be about $80,000, is going to be paid from our prior fund balance that we put aside for that purpose. And then the installation, which will take place next year.
In a future year.
In a future year,
Yes, we're
will
not
be-
sure exactly the
Will
timing.
be part of a capital bond.
Okay, so that's the build up to how wonderful we are and why we need to talk to you about needing money for next year. So we continue to be wonderful.
Yeah, so we can jump into the numbers now. So the library is its own fund in the budget. So that's why you'll see, and here we have lines such as say retirement, health insurance, workers' comp, because since it's its own fund, it's reported here. But the numbers on the personnel services line, the state retirement line, social security, workers' comp, and the hospital and medical insurance were all included in the numbers that I gave at the budget overview last week. So these aren't in addition to those, these were included in there. So the personnel services line, that's reflective of current salaries, and the library has 4 full-time staff members. The labor line, we took a look at the past several years, and this was a line that it's been under budgeted. So Rosemary did an analysis of her current staffing levels, the hours that they work, and the rates. So we adjusted the part-time labor line to reflect that. So this isn't making any changes to the current staffing. This is just a better budget number for what currently is.
Just a more accurate.
Yes, yeah. The longevity unused sick, it's based on the current staffing and the library agreement. Rosemary, do you want to talk about the equipment request?
Yes, so the equipment request, we are asking for 2 laptops this year because we have 2 staff members that have been using their own personal laptops for work, and we don't want to do that. Part of that was because our IT system used to be managed by the Westchester Library System, and they didn't not allow us to do. We had to do it that way. They would not give us laptops that we could use, so it was the only way we could do it. But now that we are on our own and we can do things the right way, we want to do that. So that's why we're requesting 2 laptops in this year's budget. For membership dues, a slight increase, just allowing for the fact that the membership dues. So membership, that is an increase in, we belong to everybody and all the librarians in the full-time librarians belong to the New York Library Association. And we actually have an institutional membership. So that also includes our trustees. And there's going to be a slight increase. So we're anticipating a slight increase in this budget year. And we also wanted to add memberships for the part-time staff, or actually for all staff, to the Westchester Library Association, which is a local library association for library workers. So that would be the increase for membership dues. And then repairs and maintenance office equipment. That was primarily because we had another example of how we were paying for something out of this and it wasn't actually included in the budget. This is there's a slight, some slight increase in overall, but there was a piece of equipment that we use, the coin machine that accepts payments for the public copier, public copier, which we have been paying $50 a month for as part of our regular operating, but we were not actually budgeting for it. So we just were putting that in the budget. So again, to make a more accurate number for that line.
The custodial services line, our current cleaning contract, which we usually go to bid on every 2 years, expires this May. So that will go out to bid again. But for budgeting purposes, we included like a 5% increase factor to leave room for that. And then the repairs and maintenance of buildings, there's a 1,650 increase. You've been getting quotes for
for maintenance contract, and I'm still comparing them because the quotes came in they describe things differently. So I just took the number for the middle one and figured that would be a safe number to put in our budget.
We continue to see increases in the utilities. For the NIPA bills, it's up about 22% over last year, and that's mainly due to rate increases. There was a 10% variable NIPA rate increase between last year and this year, and I anticipate that there'll be another one next year. We're still waiting on an indication on the actual rates for that. That's looking like a $6,000 increase. IT, Rosemary, do you want to talk about that one?
Well, that is increases in the rate from the company that we use, A1, and also then because we're having 2 additional laptops, those are additional licenses that we have to, or not licenses, but share. They charge per month per unit per piece of equipment. in the contract, so that is raising that as well.
And then the
I'm
remaining,
sorry. So the 3520 is not just for those 2 laptops, it's, I guess, other things?
Well, it's, I mean, well, that's the amount of increase. Basically, I think it's $55 per item per month is what A1 charges us for maintenance. So since we're
Plus
adding
costs,
two,
so-
but this is just for the maintenance itself. So adding 2 additional items and the fact that their rates went up. So a little, not a lot, but that added to that.
But, I mean, it seems like a lot, it's like $1,700 per laptop per year, am I reading that right? Or that,
No.
overall, that's the overall increase?
That's the overall increase for everything. It's just that the additional there's $1,200 of that, it's $600 for each laptop, 55 times 12, so. 650, yeah, each for those.
so the state retirement and social security and medical insurance lines we discussed last week during the budget interview. So the workers' compensation line, we actually heard back from our insurance carrier today. So in the budget, we're coming off a 2-year renewal. So they actually gave me the renewal rates and our experience modification factor, which is based on losses that we have. It actually went down 14 points. So our the amount that we got quoted is actually $96,265 lower than what we're currently paying, which will significantly help where we are in the tax cap.
That's a significant.
Yeah, yeah. I even wrote back to them. I'm like, "Are you sure this is right?" And they're like, "Yes."
Take the money.
Take it, Katie. Sure.
So when we did this cover sheet, the workers' comp, we actually had an increase of 200, but for the library portion, it's actually a decrease of 700 now. So in total, the increase on the tax levy is $69,925 for library, but only $36,300 of this are items that weren't included in last week's budget overview.
Any questions? David? No questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So checks over $25,000. So we had 2 checks over $25,000 this week. One was for JC Land and Site Development, Inc. For Matheson Park Stage payment number 5. Coming from the capital fund, and it's for $169,777.36. I said payment 5, and then same vendor, JC Land and Site Development, Inc. Matheson Park Stage electrical payment number 3. Capital fund, and that's for $105,811. So we had 4 pieces of correspondence. And as is our new policy, we will not be reading them. I do want to say though that the Irvington Neighbors Against Traffic did come and present their letter. Public comment?
Cesar Manfredi. Tonight I'm president of Half Moon South, and I'm still working on my eagle patch. I just want to compliment DPW clearing the snow at South Buckout Street, and Todd Smith in particular, how well he communicates with people like myself to help clear the street of parked cars. So it went very well.
Yeah, we got a lot of, complimentary, comments on DPW because they did great work during
It
this.
was
They worked
It's
really hard.
amazing. Yeah, everyone
Incidentally,
was.
there's always one or two that are not gonna be happy, so.
Right.
But the
I have to admit, I didn't hear anyone that said.
grand
I mean-
preponderance was going great.
It's been 100% positive. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know. No negative
Yeah.
comments came my way.
It's current voice, but yeah,
Any
same.
negative comments, tell them to Larry.
I have to say, it's so shocking to drive into the city and see how much snow is everywhere, and it's
Yeah.
impossible to park in our like pristine. I'm very proud of our village.
Yeah, I can endorse. Todd was in really good connection with our block too about snow removal.
No, they did a great job. And I think we wanted to say thanks to you too, Caesar, for making yourself available at the last public hearing and commenting and really great patience going through all that and recounting what happened. So thanks for your time on that.
So
You
the,
know, the planning board,
You're back.
Caesar Manfredi, chairman of the planning board, still working on
New
it.
hat.
Yeah, I didn't see you change your hat.
When you do the hearing on the Cosmopolitan building, you might want to mention for people listening that they are giving a presentation at the planning board this Wednesday.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
we sent out the mayor's letter for that. We should add that to it. Okay. So the consent agenda, I'm going to make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments, thoughts? No? Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
So for item 6, continuing the public hearing for the zoning code, do I just say that we're doing that? Because it's still just open.
See if there's any comments.
Yeah.
Remember, at the last meeting, you explained that you wanted to identify any possible environmental issues. So.
Right, so we invite anybody in the public to let us know if they perceive any environmental issues. And the public hearing will continue to be open, so people can feel free to write letters to the board and let us know any concerns or come to any of the public hearings. Okay, so it will continue to stay open, correct?
Yeah, right. Well, right now, the village's consultants, both AKRF and our engineer Doug Hahn, made extensive comments in response to the plan. So we're waiting to hear from Cosmopolitan people in response to that.
Okay, perfect, okay. You're talking about the comments that they delivered last meeting?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, perfect, okay. Okay, so that will continue to we'll continue the public hearing, it'll remain open. Then I'm gonna make a motion to set a public hearing for changing the code for senior citizen parking. You wanna talk a bit about that?
Correct. So in speaking with our recreation staff as well as seniors that frequent the senior center down on the 29th Bridge Street, there's a concern about the availability of parking in the lot adjacent to the building. Presently, there's nothing in the code that identifies that parking lot as one that's restricted for senior use during the hours of 8 to 3 when the senior center is being used, and there are concerns from the people who frequent the senior center that several of them have mobility issues, that they need more they need designated parking next to the building. So I worked with village council to develop a local law to create the restriction and designate senior parking in the lot next to the senior center. So we have to hold a public hearing because it's a change to the local law.
So I'm gonna make a motion to open a public hearing?
A motion to schedule a public hearing for
Okay.
the board for the February 25th board meeting,
Okay,
and direct the clerk treasurer to publish that notice with.
so I'm gonna make a motion to set the public hearing, to open a public hearing.
To set the
Set it-
public
set
hearing.
For February 24th.
25th
25th, okay.
Yes.
And to
Yes.
direct the treasurer, clerk treasurer,
To publish said notice.
to publish said
The
notice.
local media and publish it, as per our normal
Yes.
publication.
So Katie, yes, so that you can be directed to publish the notice in the way that's appropriate, in accordance with our rules. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm really excited for the jumping, because this is very that's the only one. Okay, so. To the next item, which is a resignation from one of our volunteer boards. Slowly paging through here. I'm sorry, because now I'm on item 9. I need to read this resolution. I should probably read the resolution for the resolve that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Irvington hereby schedules a public hearing. Okay, I'll do that, right? I should read this
Well, I
resolution.
think you already
You already
voted on
covered
it.
You voted on it, so I don't have to read the resolution? It's
No,
covered,
this
okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to accept the resignation of, it says Bob Grados, his name is Robert Grados, we probably should put his full name. From the ZBA, do I have a second?
Second.
Resolve to accept with regret the resignation of Robert Grados as second alternate of the Irvington Zoning Board of Appeals effective January 28th, 2026. And be further resolved to accept with regret the resignation of Eileen Bach as second alternate of the Irvington Architectural Review Board effective January 29th. 6. All in favor?
Aye.
So do you want to explain the Con Edison employees?
Yes, so as the village, board is aware that the village is partnering with Westchester County through the Make Ready program to install EV chargers in several places throughout the village. When the original cost was analyzed, it was assuming that a certain electrical design would match for very specific, sites. And certain designs are covered under the grant and the rebate and some aren't. The site that's located at 2549 South Buckout in Half Moon North requires an additional configuration to allow it to be installed and connect in with their electrical utility. And that additional cost is not covered under the terms of the grant. So it's an additional cost. So we have to pay for that. It's being charged to the capital project for the EV chargers. But speaking with Katie, we need to make sure that we're budgeting for the village's cost to that, correct?
Yes. So we're gonna compile the cost because it was the Westchester County grant and then there were rebates that covered the majority of the cost, but there is a piece that the village will have to cover. So once we gather all of that information, it'll either be part of the capital budget or we can do a transfer from contingency.
Okay. And I think we discussed that.
We did.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
already discussed. That
Yeah,
that's
when
a
the
part that
project
we-
was approved, we
Correct.
knew it would be coming.
So Charles, the other sites don't have any issues? These are the only.
So there are a couple, and I'm blanking on which ones right now, where the costs exceed what the grant would cover. It's only about $25,000 in total for the two other projects, but keep in mind the remaining $350 some odd thousand is covered by this. There's just a couple of them, depending on how far they are away, that require more labor to install them, and so there are additional costs to that. But the majority are covered.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve, the Con Edison invoice or the second. Resolved that the village board of trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to approve invoice number 401-80146 from Con Edison in the amount of $36,307.07 for professional services related to the installation of EV chargers as part of the Westchester County Make Ready program at the Half Moon North EV site located at 254 South Buckhouse Street, Irvington. And be it further resolved that the village clerk treasurer is hereby directed to finance this project from capital projects line 006.051, 0.200.475, EV charging station project grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, remember before we move to reports of the boards, we have to
Yes,
add
yes.
on.
So I'm gonna make a motion to add an item to the agenda. Do I have to say what the item is? Yeah, right?
Yes.
Which is the resignation from the Irvington Theater of the theater manager, Chad Austin. Do I have a second? Okay. Resolved to accept the resignation of Chad Austin as theater manager effective January 31st, 2026, and wish him well in his future endeavors. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Reports of boards. David, do you have anything? You're muted.
You're on mute.
Comment on the progress with the FBC, the progress with streamlining, and the progress with streamlining related to the hiring of the architect for the ARB and the FBC. He's up to date on that, and my connection is like 95%, but it wavers now and then. But he is more up to that. The Woods, they have nothing to report at the moment, are looking forward to working on their budget.
Thank you. Kent?
Sorry, start with the school board. The school board meeting is tomorrow, February 3rd at 7:30 at the high school. Joyce Chepnick and the AP for Main Street will be presenting. There's also a science fair coming up March 14th, all K through 12 students. Over the weekends, I had the pleasure of working with Historic Society. They had a sort of planning session for their coming year, and they had different groups working at different sort of areas of the planning for the future, and I worked with the fundraising group just to sort of help in that area. I have to say they had a lot of like sort of new ideas to try to push this a little bit. So they're looking at grants and specific ones that they're applying for. Particularly, I think with Mary Jane Shipsky's office, they've had some relationship with her. She likes to support similar groups. They have a fundraising drive that they're working on, having like different tiers of fundraising and doing networking to people in. They're also trying to reform their website to try to have more like regular monthly donations and have it sort of be like similar to some of the models you'd see like an NPR. They have like a regular donation that you keep doing each month, and maybe give out like merch to go with it to sort of promote these sort of initiatives, things that they haven't tried before. So I was pleased to see them trying some new things to fundraise for the group. We discussed also. I realized some of the conversations we've had as a board, just asking them to try some new ways to do their fundraisers. They are open to certainly maybe taking some on our options. I don't know if they are ready to change the location yet, but it's something we continue to talk to them about. But they were very interested in the idea of maybe the senior center features for a fundraiser. And And then I have some updates as detailed as you would like. Planning board, the zoning board, and ARB, if however much you would like.
Anything you want to share?
All right. I can give a quick overview. If you have specific questions about any of the particular ask. So the planning board, from January 7th was the last meeting. There was an 80 Harriman Road application. There was a 3 Langdon Avenue application. 71 Havel Street application. I don't know how else to describe it because it's by the address.
Yeah, no. If there's any interesting or points or
Well,
anything.
76 Broadway was a big part.
Yeah.
So that was a dominated conversation. And so they discussed, let's see, this application for a proposed public benefit bonus. It was many of the conversations we've well. They relayed the board of trustees agreed to grant the 5% bonus in exchange for additional moderate income housing and affordable housing. And they're continuing also talking about fire truck access. I think that's still one of the things that just came up there was a lot of just arguing about the outdoor space. I think they're trying to work out the deck option, which I didn't realize was a thing that they're discussing, but there's apparently a roof access and more playgrounds.
At 76?
Currently. I didn't know that either. That's probably enough for now. The rest of it, I think there were conversations that we've had as well, talking about the parking and how they were going to adjust, making sure that the structure, the stacked parking was inside of the structure, not outside. Also just concerns about the outdoor space, making sure that it wasn't too noisy for.
That's the Cosmo building, not 76.
Oh, I apologize. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, the outdoor space in the stick park.
I apologize. I 100% jumped to the next. That is the Cosmo. So the other part of the conversation was the Cosmo. They were talking about this outdoor space soundproofing. In the park. That's it. That's for me.
Charles and I were able to attend the RPAC meeting. I forgot what date that was. It was last 1 week, 2 weeks ago. They are reviewing all of their forms for rentals. They're setting up their fees for camp, which is a really busy time of year, registrations. And they also are brainstorming some ideas around public survey and at the request of the board. From the water department, reading water meters, working on village service line, maintenance of the water department facilities. There was a water main break in the backyard of 17 Park Road. We actually received, I know it's a part of the public record, but we received a letter from neighbors of the impacted area that were commending the members of the water department for their quick service and for being in regular communication during the outage. There was also a water main break in front of 6 Bertha Place that was repaired. And they assisted 14 South Broadway with a service line leak. And they plowed back and shoveled off all pipes and fittings for emergency access. Attended the fire department meeting. They currently have 25 calls in the month of January, and that's 25 year to date. Of note, they reviewing options for the Rescue 49 bids. To date, they have not received feedback that's met their needs. They provided members with an update that we approved the signing of the grant for their radio equipment, and all paperwork's been submitted. And we will certainly talk more with them about their needs during their capital budget presentation on February 11th. Okay. I don't want to I know we have a big update from Charles about the DPW in terms of the snow response, but I just want to say, we had a 15.5 inches of accumulated snow, and as Caesar indicated, and I indicated, and everyone was just very, very grateful for DPW and all of their efforts, not only during the storm, continuously working, but in the days after the storm, removing a huge pile of snow from Main Street, plowing all of the little side streets and making sure people could park and that everyone was updated. So I just wanted to publicly note appreciation for that. And then all board members received the update from the Irvington Police Department, which indicated their statistics in terms of calls and also their training updates and community engagement for the month. That's all I have. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, so I won't spend too much time because we already heard from Laura and Rosemary about all the exciting things going on at the public library. But if you haven't, please sign up for their newsletter. You get see what events are happening every month, and as you all heard, I think they do a really great job of responding to community needs and serving all different age groups. There's stuff for adults, kids, teens, tweens. And the great thing with the library, or one of the great things, is you can see they're very data driven and keep track of everything and know how to respond to usage and make changes to best serve the community. So it's really great. One thing I did want to highlight from their newsletter is that they do have some programming this month around Black History Month, and so they said stop in to borrow books ranging from topical nonfiction to autobiographies and even nonfiction graphic novels from Black authors and artists. And they have 2 online events. One is this Wednesday, 7 p.m. It's online on the Gay Harlem Renaissance with the New York Historical Society, and then another one February 26th, 6:45, also online. The Life of Frederick Douglass and a virtual tour of his DC home. So check out the library. For Route 9, last Friday, Charles and I attended Route 9 Transportation Partnering Committee, and please correct me if I say anything wrong, but it sounded like this kind of phase of the project is basically wrapping up as far as like the public comment on the overall design and some of the goals and things like that. And the next phase of the project, well, I guess in the interim, they're going to probably put a call out to try and get support from all the villages, get additional money from the state to help fund these projects, to help fund the first section. Next phase, I think, is starting in the spring, is when they start going into design approval. And I think they said maybe a year from now is kind of the final design stage where they'll just move in more like the final design details for a specific segment of it. Because we don't yet know where it's going to start. It kind of depends on the amount of money that's available and the design approval process. But it sounded like we should know, I think by spring, kind of more about the next steps there and which segment is going to be first in the process. But it's still probably a couple years out from actually starting construction, it sounded like. Yes.
That's correct. The site design is the plan itself has been sent to the state, and now they're looking to try to find funding. Ultimately, when you look at a plan like that, understand that it's not what you see is not what may end up happening. They still have to go down to each site and determine where a crosswalk belongs. If there's they still have to do a lot of work to determine where exactly to put things, like where it shows there's a crosswalk might not be where the crosswalk is, that kind of thing. And to Trustee Grodnick's point, the funding is going to be the biggest piece. So they're looking to maintain a certain level of engagement from each of the communities to keep the momentum behind this. So they're looking for communities to make sure they're championing the project with the state and conveying how it's important. So that's kind of the next step of it. But we should know, to Trustee Grodnick's point, sometime in the spring, where it looks like the first piece of the work is going to start.
Do you know if when they sort of start unveiling or they do the final design, is there more public input parts or not? There's like more opportunities, I should say.
I think so. To what Charles was saying, as far as like some of the specifics, I think it sounded like, and maybe I may be wrong, but it's too late to make major changes. We can't say like, actually, we don't care at all about these other uses or things like that. Like that kind of overall, plan and design is in play, but like Charles was saying, like where specific things go, could be moved, or
Well, and it's also gonna depend on if they need easements for things, if the electrical utilities for a light line up where it is, if it doesn't, it might necessitate it being moved, so there's gonna be a lot of back and forth between the local municipalities, between the utility companies, it's gonna kind of depend. Money and, the boots on the ground resources to do it.
That's it.
Village administrators report.
So, I only have one major thing I'd like to say, and Trustee Bloom kind of keyed me up for it. I wanted to do a kind of high level debrief on what we just went through as far as this snowstorm. I'm gonna read it so I don't make sure that so I don't miss anything. The Village of Irvington executed a coordinated multi-departmental response to a significant snow event that produced approximately 15.5 inches of accumulation from Sunday morning to Monday afternoon and evening. Also, I wanted to little add into that, it was really cold and very windy at times. So again, extra kudos to first responders who were out in that. Preparations began in advance of the storm through interdepartmental communications and the full mobilization of personnel and equipment to ensure public safety and the continuity of essential services. The Department of Public Works sustained a round-the-clock operation, initiating early salting and plowing, deploying crews across multiple zones, and prioritizing hills, known trouble areas, sidewalks, and critical facilities. In the days following the storm, DPW transitioned to snow removal, roadway widening, and street clearing of alternate side parking in business district areas with particular attention to Main Street and just to note the side streets as well. Sanitation and recycling services were temporarily suspended to allow staff to focus on snow response and were restored as conditions improved. Some contractors were utilized to expedite snow pile removal and parking area clearance. The Irvington Police Department supported these efforts by providing traffic control, enforcing temporary no parking and alternate side parking restrictions, assisting with vehicle relocations, and maintaining regular patrol coverage. Officers responded to a high volume of snow-related and routine calls for service, including motor vehicle accidents, medical aids, utility issues, and other public safety concerns. The police department also worked collaboratively with DPW to notify residents regarding the timely clearing of sidewalks adjacent to their properties. The Irvington Fire Department maintained a snow standby throughout the event, staffing the firehouse to ensure uninterrupted emergency response capability. The fire department members conducted essential facility and equipment maintenance during this time, assisted police and IVAC with a sledding-related injury response, and provided logistical and operational support to village personnel. Firefighters also assisted DPW and the police department with downtown snow removal efforts and provided meals and much-needed refreshments to police and DPW staff working extended hours during the storm. The village extends its sincere appreciation to the Irvington Union Free School District Superintendent Dr. Ratajczyk and her staff for allowing residents to utilize Main Street School parking lot for temporary resident parking. This cooperation was instrumental in enabling DPW to safely and efficiently clear snow from main streets and the adjacent side streets. Overall, the village's response demonstrated sustained operational coverage, effective resource deployment, and strong interdepartmental coordination among all village departments and community partners during a prolonged and challenging winter weather event.
And thank you to all of the various departments for doing what they did. Village clerk treasurer's report.
Our next budget workshop will be February 11th, and that will be the fire department, the building department, and IVAC is also present.
Thank you. Village attorney's report. Public comment.
There are no hands up online.
Review of any action items. Okay. We're going to have an executive session regarding personnel, so I'm going to adjourn the meeting. So do I have a second?